Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. Today we're on the website of Baecque Auctions based in France. We're going to have a look at their latest auction, which is musical instruments. This auction is due to finish on the 24th of May 2023. It's the 21st today, so a few more days left to go. I think there's about 200 or so instruments in this auction, so a fair amount. Should be quite interesting. Before I carry on, I'd just like to say if you do enjoy these videos, please consider subscribing or comment or like, because it all does really help. So yeah, we've got this French auction here, as I always say, because this is a French auction. If you are bidding outside of France or outside of Europe even, bear in mind shipping kind of terms, import export fees, all of that stuff, CITES restrictions, all important. Could be hidden fees there. Buyer's premium for this particular auction is 25%, so whatever it sells for, you pay an extra 25% of that hammer price on top, so bear all of that in mind. So without further ado, I think let's just kind of crack on and see what we have. We'll go in depth in a few things and other stuff we'll just go over. So we have a Hot Boys here in Rosewood. We can click through the auction perhaps, and then we can see everything. It's a bit easier on their own website than it is on Share, so we shall do that. We'll carry on. Got Hot Boys again there. I think at least one in ebony and one in rosewood, 60 to 80. We've got another Hot Boys here in rosewood, stamped Laube à Paris, 100 to 150 euros. Clarinet here. Couple of clarinets. Clarinet here from 1860. Only one picture on that one, it seems. Clarinet there, Cousineau. Clarinet, metal one. Three clarinets there. Transverse flute, Lebret, Paris. Another transverse flute there in wood this time. Transverse flute here. Let's just double check what we have here. We've got a new translation assistant here. Silver transverse flute by Alfred G. Badger in New York. Okay, there we go. That's good. That's quite handy. 1200 to 1500 there, so a fairly important high level-ish flute there. Some transverse flutes there. Looks like JTL. Metal transverse flute, 100 to 120. A cornet, a piston cornet by Antoine Courtois, 150 to 180. Trumpet there. Trumpet of H. Pihan, 1900s. Some other bits and pieces as well. Looks like a cavalry trumpet here. That's kind of slightly unusual looking one. Let's just see what we might be missing here. Low cavalry trumpet, circular shape. Okay, without valves. Slightly interesting, that one. By Descartes Frères in Lierre, 1850 to 1926. The Melon mouthpiece. It's kind of an interesting looking horn, that 80 to 120. I don't think I've seen one like that before. Sax horn contrabass, 50 to 80 there. Saxophone, alto saxophone by J. Grass. Accordion by Crucianelli. Romantic accordion there. Another accordion here, Hohner. Few drums here, vintage pearl drums. Okay, it's a Pleyel piano there. Good manufacturer there. 180 to €220 the estimate there. Right, we're on to instruments here. 3/4 cello Miracle 1900, 450 to 600. Looks, yeah, fairly standard of that time. Has a bow as well. Pretty significant damage there. I don't think we're seeing anything too exciting. Cello here, another Miracle one, this time in a full size and in better condition. 4.5 to 5,000 seems a bit expensive. Well, it's probably about right, but expensive as an opening. Rare cello by Georges Chardon. Interesting. Let's just check exactly what it's saying here. Rare cello by Georges Chardon, probably in collaboration with his father Joseph, with label. Sold with certificate from Jean-Yves Rouvert. Missing a peg and saddle at the bottom. Okay, interesting. Nice F holes on that. 30 to 35,000 euros. That's pretty significant amount. Case there. A modern viola, Lu Zi, so a Chinese made viola there. 5 to 600. Also seems a bit expensive. A German violin from 1900, 100 to 120. I think once again it's pretty not too exciting. Violin, Leon Martin, 800 to 1,000 euros here. Kind of Miracle 1900 kind of thing. Violin, Ducat, Aberdeen. Okay. Interesting. 2.5 to 3,000 there. It looks slightly interesting. Let's just see what they're saying here. Violin made by Ducan in Aberdeen, Scotland in 1776. Oh, just got rid of that. Neck notch, good condition, ready to play. Mounted Baroque. Okay, so yes, a Baroque violin, 2.5 to 3,000 euros on that. Let's have a look at the picture. Not the greatest pictures, so it's a bit difficult to say. Definitely looks interesting. 2.5 to 3 seems maybe a little bit on the high size, I must be honest. Interesting violin, Brescian School, 8,000 to 10,000. Definitely an interesting looking violin there. 353 length of back, definitely curious. Interesting scroll as well. Don't know if we can see this better in larger pictures. Not the greatest of pictures in all honesty, but we can kind of get an understanding what's going on. German violin there. The label of Klotz. That's fairly standard. 300 to 350 euros. Violin in the Italian style, 100 to 150 euros there. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's kind of fairly interesting in a way. It's definitely got some charm to it. A bit more than some other instruments do. 100 to 150 euros there. Then an anonymous French violin there. Once again, the picture is a bit difficult to see. A beautiful violin, French violin, Jules Galliard, with the question mark. 5 to 5,500 there. Once again, seems fairly expensive. Interesting French violin Breton. Interesting artwork on this one. 1,500 to 2,000. With the curious looking head on that. definitely not to my taste. Violin, 1800s, Tyrolean. That looks nice enough, 3 to 3.5. JTL violin there. $150 to $180. Another violin, German school, they're saying. $900 to $1,000. French violin, Colin Fee, 1,000 to 150 euros there. Looks fairly interesting, but maybe a bit high on the estimate there. Few different violins there in a lot. I think not worth going into that. Violin by Emile Blondelet there, 1910. 1,000 to 1,200. Violin signed Clotel, 80 to 100 euros there. Let's just quickly see what they're saying there. We've got violin signed Clotel, split at the core and the back to be repaired with box. Sold with a Charles Bazin bow broken at the head, silver mounted. Some other bits and pieces. The French violin with a mark of Laurent Thomas, fairly standard. Another GATL violin here, 600 to 800, looks in fairly good condition. Violin by Mortissier, 1830, 1,000 to 1,200. Sorry, this is a violin. I think this is a viola. If it's 388, or that's a mistake. German violin with some marquetry. Back also separated. 150 to 200. Full size violin there by Mansi Michael. Violin Antonio Lorenzi, 400 to 600. Beautiful violin by Aubrey, 3 to 3.5. It's definitely gonna be attractive to some people there. A nice back on that, 357, the length of back. German violin. It's got a Joseph Guarnerius label, 5 to 600. Okay, another violin here, Mirko Le Marquis de l'Air, that we see quite a lot. Pretty standard trade instrument there. Violin Colin Mazza. These are always popular, 2 to 2.5, so I'm sure that will do quite well. 357 as well. The back length is not too bad. Interesting violin, Swiss. Interesting. Needs a bit of attention there. 180 to 200. That could be fairly interesting. Violin, Leon Mougenot, 400 to 500. Violin from 1800 in the style of Charot, 6 to 800. That's not too bad. Violin JTL there, 700 to 800. Full size violin Mirko. Violin companion, this is the lower level kind of French stuff here. Violin René Kuhn, 1100 to 1500 there. European violin 359, not a lot of information on that. 50 to 60. Violin with a Montagnana label, looks like a fairly standard type of instrument there. Mircore violin 200 to 250. Another GATL here, maybe slightly nicer looking woods on that, 1500 to 2000. Another Mircore but a lower level one there, 60 to 100. An Italian violin, Pietro Gazzola, 1882, Crispano. Okay, interesting. 2.5 to 3,000. Let's have a look at the back there. I think it's saying it's got a certificate by Eric Blott. Let's just check all this. Yeah, this violin has a certificate by Eric Blott, which is usually a good thing. Violin, it is certifiable by Mr. Eric Blott. So I think if you bought it, then you probably could apply for a certificate, which would probably cost you about the same as that again. Okay, violin, Nicholas Bertolini, just another trade violin there. German violin there, 1900s. It's got a fairly nice back, 220 to 250. Interesting violin, School of Derazy, slightly bizarre looking shape there. It almost looks like a kind of Brescian kind of shape, 5 to 600, like a viol or a Lira da Braccio or something like that. Violin, Lebert, it's all pretty standard. A beautiful violin by Gustave Viaume in Nancy, 1200 to 1500. Anonymous violin, 40 to 50. Violin, copy of Strad, pretty standard. Another kind of, it's got a French violin with a rocker label, actually quite a nice back on that. 1400 to 1600, it's got that kind of interesting red varnish. Another Mircore instrument here. Another French violin with the bow. French violin by Cousineau, 1000 to 1200, fairly nice back. German violin here, so it's quite a lot of items in this auction, nothing too crazy so far. Case here, so we can go past that. Interesting, a mute violin, that's kind of a curious looking one. We do see these occasionally. This one's definitely a little bit different. 3/4 JTL there, we can go past that. 3/4 companion as well. Jolie violin, 3/4, 1900. Pretty standard stuff there. Another 3/4, we're not going to get too deep into these, more 3/4 there. 3/4 there, and a full size Breton. Other 3/4 here, so in the lower tiers, more 3/4. Violin there with a Quattro label. Another Mircore violin there. Half size violin, Quattro. Another Mircore violin, 120 to 180. 1/8 violin, interesting, with bow. Here's some bows here, cello bow there, GHL they're saying. Another cello bow. Some more kind of modern things. Violin bow signed Lupo there, 180 to 200. Violin signed Emile Huchard. Few bits and pieces there. Violin by Nicolas Remy Maire. Looks like it needs a bit of attention, but it does have a certificate from Pierre Guillaume, 2/8 to 3 there. Violin bow by Justin Poisson, 5 to 600 there. Violin bow Emile Huchard, 1000 to 1200. Marc Lebert bow here. German violin bow signed Winterling. The German bow here, we can go past that. More German stuff here. Violin bow Joseph Gaud, 1700 to 2000, also has a Pierre Guillaume certificate. The German bow there. Interesting looking violin bow there. Couple of Pernambuco bows there. Doesn't look too exciting. Some more violin bows there. Interesting. A Villeroux, a hurdy-gurdy attributed to Colson, 1860. Fairly interesting looking one there, 1800 to 2000. Oh, interesting. The head of a Villeroux, sometimes they become a bit looser, from about 1900 there, 150 to 118. Okay, Mandola there by René Jerome, 1950. Mandoloncello, Italian, Milan, about 1800. This is quite interesting, 3 to 4000. Something a bit different. That is quite nice. Let's bring up the translator and make sure that we're not missing anything here. Anonymous Italian mandoloncello made in Milan around 1800. 6 courses, loop-shaped, tortoiseshell protection plate. Interesting. Yeah, it's quite a nice looking instrument, that one. Bandurria there. Little banjo. Neapolitan mandolin, pretty standard type, nothing too crazy. Anonymous mandolin. Interesting back to it, but not too crazy. This is interesting. Mandolin. Anonymous Italian, North Italian, 1800. This is quite this is a nice looking instrument. Lots of tortoiseshell on that. That's the kind of mandolin that I would like, I think. That's very nice indeed. 3 to 4000. Nice looking instrument. Interesting bow there from about 1800. Classical period bow, 1200 to 1500. That's saying German, with a Kramer head. That's saying Kremer here, but Kramer head. Interesting. Mandolin there. Another mandolin, flat back ones. Neapolitan mandolin there, 18th century. Another nice looking instrument there. from Vincentus Vinaccia. That's a very nice looking mandolin there, very nice, 1000 to 1500. Another mandolin, pretty normal one there. It's interesting. Double table Neapolitan mandolin, 150 to 200. It's actually a fairly nice example of a double top mandolin. Romantic mandolin from Baecque there, 1850. That's quite nice. Some nice mandolins here. Someone had quite a good collection, I think. That is quite nice. Another Neapolitan mandolin there, but late 19th century. Another mandolin there, but nothing too crazy on that one. Here's a kind of guitar lute theorbo type thing by Herman Karlsson. Levin. It's just a Swedish instrument. They've got another guitar lute there. Some books and bits on lutes. Oh, this is quite nice. A guitar battente. 5 courses. Interesting. We will have a look at the text of that in a minute. That's a very nice looking instrument. 5 to 6,000 euros there. Let's read a bit about this. A 5-course baton guitar, beating guitar, made from a late 17th century Baroque guitar body and reassembled by Donatius Villano in Naples in 1755. Interesting. The soundboard could be dated with the help of a dendrochronology, locating the parts of the soundboards in the years 1728 and 1739, which confirms the Italian origin of the wood used by Donatius Villano. Interesting. It's quite a nice looking instrument. I think there's some good stuff in this auction. Guitar here, romantic guitar there. Joseph Gand de Paris, fairly nice, 2 to 2.5. Interesting Italian kind of harp guitar here, 1833, 1800 to 2000. Italian guitar here, Monzino and Figli, 1500 to 1800. Classical guitar by Jacques Favino. Another classical guitar, flamenco type, by Antonio Ruiz Lopez. Washburn folk guitar here. Another folk guitar, 12-string. The folk guitar by Simar, nothing too crazy on that one. A couple of more generic guitars there. Japanese kawaii folk guitar. Another 12-string Epiphone. Ibanez electric guitar there. One of these zithers that are always around. Interesting mix of some accordions and a mandolin there. Whole load of different violin scrolls. Some wood for violins there, and a table and a bit of a mould. Whole load of different violins for sale there. Bridge pegs and stuff like that. Some planes for violin making. Load of different bridges there. Some other tools and some mini instruments, it seems. Once again, some more tools and books and knives. Some clamps, so clearly some violin maker stuff here. Lots of tail pieces there. Whole loads of different bows for sale there. More bows again. More bows. And more. Yeah, still a lot more bows. A few more bows there as well. Definitely quite a lot of bows in this auction. Still coming. So there's a whole load of someone's massive collection of bows here. I'm sure there's some decent things somewhere. Some reamers there, standard. Into is quite a nice metronome there. A gaif. Interesting. French Polynesia. Big conch shell there. 200 to 300 euros. Interesting that they put it in this auction. Makonda, Tanzania. It's interesting. Chamba, Nigeria. With percussion, bell kind of type things. Baul, Republic, Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast. Interesting. African instruments there. Some kind of bells. A Cuba by Republic of the Democratic Congo. Kind of drums there. Pygmies, Region de la Lobe Republic, Central African Republic there. Gabon, it's a harp. Another DR Congo there, another kind of drum type instrument. Tanzania, Gogo Kaguru. So it's like a kind of kalimba type instrument. Pupil Oldeme, it's Cameroon, north east Cameroon, another harp type instrument. Baulgur, northeast Republic de Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, another kind of drum there. Stuff from Mauritania, a whole load of different instruments, percussion and stringed. Ile de Madura, Indonesia, tambor. Baecque, Sumatra, Indonesia, a stringed instrument there. A tempura from India. A tambor there. Tibetan bowls. Some more Tibetan bowls there. And more. Collection of vinyl records there. Some more recordings. It's a bit away from us. Other kind of books, and I think that's it. Okay, so there was 191 lots, so that is it. We are at the end of the auction there. Actually quite an interesting auction, real mixture of things, some interesting stuff, a couple of interesting violin type things, but some really great mandolins, and definitely one very interesting guitar. So I think the stars of this show are probably going to be the mandolins or guitars. There was also this very nice looking silver flute as well, here by Alfred G. Badger. That's a nice looking flute. So yeah, a range of things, like pretty interesting. I'll put a link in the description, check it out, see what you think, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.